Guten Tag, everybody. How's everybody doing out there? BlugoblinX here, back again. Uh, Back again for another comic review, guys. Once again, like I said, it's pretty good to be back for a while, for the time. Um, got some books for you guys. Wanted to dish out for this week as well. Uh, and as always, let's just get right into this so far. So I got books from IDW, Dark Horse, DC, and we're going to end it with Marvel. So let's kick it off with the titles for the title for IDW, and that's none other than, once again, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 31. This is the Eastman cover, as you can see right here. That's really cool. First and foremost, Turtles coming up on their 30th anniversary. 30 years. That is phenomenal to know that the Turtles have lasted that long and it still has a following since the day they first debuted way back when they were still under Mirage. So I'm glad to see that. Eastman is still basically just killing it on this book. I'm glad to know that Peter Laird is coming back. He's going to come back for a one issue. I forget which issue he's coming back for. But the Turtles are still in the farmhouse, in April's farmhouse, pretty much. And they're still just taking a breather from after all the calamity and all the backlash that came from, the last story arc. And pretty much, there you got Donnie, and it kind of had a little nostalgia to like the classic movie, because you got Donnie and Casey working on a instead of a Jeep, a truck like they were in the movie, the original movie. They're working on a motorcycle, which is really cool. And they're talking about how Casey's talking about how Donnie's puts a lot of too much into mathematics, into sports and things like that. You got Leo, pretty much still he's still trying to adjust to what happened. Raph is doing Tai Chi, and Alpaplex, the fox, or yeah, I think she's a fox, is with them, and she's pretty much she's like saying to Raph, I think it's a girl, I can't remember, basically saying, never thought you'd be a Tai Chi person and things like that, and and then pretty much April comes back into the scene, and April has cut her hair. She's got it. It's short now, and everybody's just like, "Whoa, April! Like, whoa, you look good." Mikey and Donnie say that. Casey can't get a word out, and then it goes more in depth into basically the ooze and April's parent or father and everything. What the ooze may have, what kind of capabilities that the ooze may have, everything like that. And like I said, Leo's still trying to adjust, and Master Splinter is trying to make him understand that don't tread too far away from the family. We stick together as a family, we stay together as glue, and we'll get through everything. And it's just really showcasing the love that Master Splinter has for his sons and things like that. But unfortunately, all that happiness comes to an end, because dun dun dun, enter the Foot assassins with a new mutant on the scene. Not gonna spoil who this mutant name is. I don't think they even give him a name, but I will tell you what the mutant animal is. What he is. It looks like he's a falcon. He looks like a falcon, but he is a bird. And pretty much there's a battle ensues, but unfortunately Raph kind of he starts putting maybe two and two together, and he's like, wait a minute, how did they find us? You. And it's like, oh. And so that brash and anger from Raph, he's not thinking straight. His anger gets the best of him, and it kind of ends on a cliffhanger, but it ends kind of on a good cliffhanger because of someone who enters the fray. But this was really good. Kevin Eastman still just doing a fantastic job on this title. And once again, if you are a Turtles fan, continue to support this and read it and love it. If you are just trying to jump on board, I would suggest start getting the trades first and then jumping on this. But this is just Ninja Turtles 31. Good stuff. Right? So we move to Dark Horse, and you knew I was going to get this, guys. It's been a while since this character has been in comic form. The last time we saw this character in comic form, Mike Turner, God rest his soul, used to do the artwork for this character. And I'm talking about Lara Croft. And I introduce you to Tomb Raider #1 by Gail Simone. Tip my hat to my lady. And artwork by Nicholas Daniel Samal. Hope I'm saying your name right. Artwork was really good. I enjoyed this very much. So basically what this is, guys, is it's kind of furthering the story of the game in a sense. Now, if you have not played the game or have not done your research on the game, you might be a little confused on this, but in a sense, it kind of is a sense. It's basically, you're not really missing too much. I mean, the game is beautiful from, things like that, but you're not missing because it kind of, in a sense, explains what happens. So basically, we have Lara Croft, who is, remember, they have de-aged her now in the new series. She's like in her 20s, so she's like 21. So it's kind of showcasing, in a sense, like the Laura what she will become. However, it's called Survivor's Guilt. So pretty much, in a sense, it's Laura kind of feeling guilty in a sense, and the other survivors having almost like post-traumatic stress from their ordeal on the island that they were on in the game. She's having nightmares, and many of the other survivors that she knows are having nightmares. Some of them don't want to talk about it. Some of them are even more stressed out than ever. And it gets to the point where one of the survivors that she really cared for, a man by the name of Jonah, he's Maori. So he's basically South Pacific, things like that. Islander. He's pretty much, kind of in a sense, gone really off the deep end, because now he's talking about certain people have followed them back from the island, but it gets more supernatural-esque to it. But I enjoyed it for what it was. Laura in this, Gail Simone writes Laura beautifully, in my opinion. She just really knows how to nail these female characters that have a following, but also puts that humanness into these characters to where you really kind of really understand the characters, as well as you really start to really, in a sense, feel for the characters as well. Same thing she does with Sonya. Same thing she does with Babs. She's starting the same trait what she's doing with Laura here. But I did enjoy this very much. And I want to gotta give a lot of thanks to Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics for allowing Gail to take a crack at Lara Croft as well. But the ball is in your court, Gail. I know you will pretty much knock it out of the park. And that's just, I'm maybe a fanboy, but I don't care. Like I said before, Gail, I talked about this before when I heard you were taking this. So I'll follow your work anywhere. So, good job, my lady. Okay, that's all the independent stuff. Let's move on to DC, and got 3 DC for you. The first one we're gonna talk about is Aquaman number 28. Jeff Parker, Paul Pelletier. Blood in the Water. First of all, that is a badass cover. I like that cover. Now, is that false advertising? No. Actually, that happens in this story. So yeah, let's get in right into this. Okay, first of all, like I said, this happens. Arthur does save a scuba diver from a feeding frenzy from a bunch of great white sharks. And when I talk about feeding frenzy, hell yes. These sharks tear into this poor diver here. They take his arms, they take his legs. If Arthur didn't get to him in time, he would have been shark food. They would have finished the job. We find out there is more dwellings underwater than what some of Arthur's subordinates have been telling him. And they've taken upon themselves to intervene into that. And I'm not talking about invaders. In terms of like other Atlantean invaders. I'm talking about humans. And Dr. Shin is actually a part of them. Not going to spoil too much about that. But the main gist of this is Arthur goes to his he goes to his high school reunion in this, which is so funny. It was to the point where Arthur wasn't gonna go. He was like, I'm not going, no way. And Mira is she wants to know. She's like, what happened when you're schooling when you were a kid? And Arthur does go do a little bit of backstory and talks about what he did as a kid, or when he first invoked his powers, in a sense. There was a time when he was a kid. They showcased that a sperm whale, I believe it was a sperm whale. Yeah, it was a sperm whale, got beached on the water, and the kids are down there, and Arthur comes upon it, and he's, you see him, Arthur, trying to say, come on, let's help, we can push her back in the water, and things like that. And when he touches her, he senses, he feels all her thoughts and everything like that, how long she's been around, and that she's come into contact with people like him. And you got a lot of things happening, and he's just like, no, don't do that. And you got one of his fellow students writing on it, like scribing something on her back, and he just has a fit, and he's just like, don't do that, she's still alive. And he tells Mira, like, this is when my strength really started to kick in, and he co-cocks this kid, and I think he said the kid was in a coma for a few days, a week or a month or something because of that, and the kids looked at him kind of differently. So kind of Mira kind of talks him, in a sense, into going. But also, besides that, there's somebody spying on the lighthouse that he lives in. We kind of get a notion of what goes on with that. But when he does go to the reunion, everybody's like kind of under their breath, like, oh my God, he's here. What's going on? And Arthur's just like, oh. And then people are looking at Mira, who, not gonna lie, looked oh so lovely in this very kind of lime greenish dress, skin tight, I must say. Wow. But she looked good, and they're just like, who's she? Everything like that. And people are just talking. Then a lot of people just start coming up to him and like, hey, Artie. They call him by his nickname, and Arthur's just, hey, how you doing? So some people kind of nervous because they tell some secrets that come out about they did something to him when he was younger, when they were in high school. Arthur's like, so what have you guys been doing since then? And a lot of them saying they work at I believe a local seafood place or something like that, and they're like, oh, okay, and they're like, you're the king of the sea now, right? And then they start getting a little bit, people start getting a little skeptic. Even an old friend that Arthur knew kind of is like, he's kind of iffy on it, because the fact that he knew about Arthur's secret, and kind of like, I didn't care about that. I was your friend and you just kind of, up and left. But a lot of people are like, okay, now we get that, but they're talking about stories like, hey, one time my ship was, we were on a ship and it was rocky and everything, and we saw somebody tugging the tow line. Was that you? And they're all like, was that you? And Arthur's like, yeah, I think. My memory's kind of wavy. I don't know. Mira is trying to get the 411 on who was Arthur's girlfriend back in high school. One of his friends tells him, and they're like, that's, and so Mira goes, and I'm like, oh my God, what's Mira gonna do? And she comes up and she's just talking to the girl, and it was good to see that Arthur, he's colorblind in a sense. I like that. Arthur basically, this is nothing to him. If he likes the girl, he likes it. She was, I believe, African American, and she comes up and Mira's like, so what did Arthur, and she's showing Arthur, Mira pictures of what Arthur used to do. Even though they only went out for a short time, it was still like Arthur used to find me these seashells, and it was so cute and everything like that. And Arthur's like, oh my God. At first he's like, oh, and it just gets really, it was just a fun issue with a little bit of oh man at the beginning, but the whole body of the book was more just having fun, showing Arthur, showing Aquaman can have a good time when he's not being the king of Atlantis and everything like that. And just seeing him and Mira just kick it with, at a reunion, and just be one of the gang, just a little bit specialer in a sense. But it was fun. Jeff Parker does a good job on this. I enjoyed it for what it was. Yeah, Aquaman 28. All right, and we move on to Batman: The Dark Knight number 28. I know this book is getting canceled, I heard. Greg Hewitt's and Ethan Van Sciver's artwork is just brilliant on this. It's all about Man-Bat once again. And bodies are piling up in Gotham. People are being killed. Gordon and the gang are finding puncture wounds on their chest, their neck, everything like that. It was really cool and slick. I love how, they're at the crime scene. Nobody knows his Batman is there except for Gordon knows he's there. He picks up like chemicals, like DNA and things like that, and he just slips Batman. He's just like, and Bruce just takes it, and it was just, nobody knew Batman was there. I thought that was so slick. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Batman goes to pay a visit to Kurt Langstrom, Dr. Langstrom, the original Man-Bat, and he's just like, we know that the Man-Bat is a male. You're suspect number one. And he's like, I know you're here, but I'm telling you it's not me. And Batman, he can read it from, Langstrom's eyes. He's like, he's telling the truth. He's not. So who is? That's the thing I'm not going to spoil for you guys. We find out who is this new Man-Bat. And this Man-Bat is more powerful, more extremely dangerous than the previous Man-Bats. Not all I will tell you about the identity is it is somebody from the Langstrom family. Excuse me. It is from the Langstrom family. And Bruce tries his best to deal with this new Man-Bat. He even tries to endorse the antidote. However, check this out. Spoiler alert if you don't want to know it. He tries to inject the needle into the Man-Bat. Breaks off. Its skin is so tough, it breaks the epidermic needle like it was nothing. So I looked at that. I'm like, oh my God, this Man-Bat's like Luke Cage. I was like, but I'm not going to spoil who it is. it was really kind of, oh crap. And this person is a douche to Langstrom. I'm like, to Kurt. Um, I'm like, this fuck, my God. But not gonna spoil who it is. Just you gotta read it for yourself. But Batman: The Dark Knight, number 28. This was really good. I enjoyed this. A good crime-esque, who did it, which I always like for Batman when they stick to the crime aspect as well, but a little bit of superheroism. You got a winner with. That's just me personally. We move on to The Flash, number 28. Possessed by Deadman. Brian Buccello and Patrick Zirch. I hope I'm saying your name right. I always get that last name right. Zirch. I hope I'm saying it once again. This was a good, almost crime-esque drama for The Flash as well. Flash and Deadman, Boston Brand, team up in a sense. Basically, Boston, Deadman here, possesses Barry, and not willingly, but he had to do it because if he didn't, this killer ghost was going to get Barry. But this ghost is going around talking about a certain family that he wants to kill. So basically, in a sense, it's up to Barry and Deadman to figure out this lineage, the lineage of this family that this ghost is going after. I believe they're called the Fletcher family. I believe it's called that again. It's a family that is I believe one of the founding families of Central City. And Barry and Boston start to really kind of go into detail of this family. He's looking for evidence, and how far back does this go? Why is this ghost going after them? But also, when they went inside a certain killer that is responsible for Barry's mother's death, Boston actually possessed him to get some info on what's going on. One thing Barry wanted to know is, asked Boston, he's like, Boston, did you see? And Deadman says, basically, in a sense, if you're asking me, did I see if he killed the woman known as Nora Allen? She wasn't in the vision, but he did kill people. And so, in a sense, basically, Deadman knows Flash's secret identity. And he even kind of jokes about it. He's like, so that means you know my secret identity now. He's like, yeah, I'm sorry, but, it's there. But, this was a good read. I enjoyed this very much. A lot of kind of trying to get in the head of it's at a point, for me, it's like, how is Flash going to stop a ghost? That's the way you look at it. It's like, if this was just Flash doing it, I may not have taken this too seriously, because Flash may be the fastest man alive, but he's not a exorcist. He doesn't know anything really about the ghosts and things like that, evil spirits. So this is a good title. This is a good story for Deadman to appear in. And Deadman took it in stride about him knowing Barry's identity. He's even like, I won't tell anybody, things like that. So it's cool. Enjoyed it for what it was. Once again, this is one of the books from 52 that I do read. I do follow a lot. I do love. But once again, like I said, there is still a big love-hate relationship with me with the new 52. But there's still the love is books like this, Flash, like Aquaman, things like that. But Flash, number 28, good stuff. All right, so we move on to the rest are all Marvel. I got 5 Marvel for you. And it's been a long time since I've had had this title in my collection, because frankly, I did not read the last volume, in a sense, even though it had one of my favorite artists, Mark Bagley, on in the artwork. I'm not too crazy about the writer. And that title is none other than Fantastic Four #1. For the Marvel now, all new Marvel now. Still not too crazy about that #1. You know me, guys. I don't really feel that Marvel needs to be doing this, but it's good to see that they put the world's greatest comic magazine back up there. James Robinson's on the writing. We have Leonard Kurt on the artwork. Artwork was really good. James Robinson takes on the First Family. And I gotta admit, I enjoyed it. It wasn't perfect, but I enjoyed it. I know probably people's gonna ask me, so Chris, what do you think about the new uniforms? I never really cared too much about the FF uniforms. I never have. You know, as long as they got the 4 on them, I'm cool with it. As long as they got that 4 insignia, I'm fine. But I can care less at what color they are, really. I mean, they could have been damn near yellow and black. I would have been like, okay, the red and black looks good. It works well on them. But in a sense, the story kind of flows in a sense of kind of through the eyes of Sue Richards. In a sense, she's writing a letter to Val, who is in Latveria. She's still pretty upset at her father and kind of both her parents. You know, Sue's really feeling, you know, as a mother, she really wants her baby girl back. You know, Franklin's there with the rest of the Future Foundation, the rest of his, you know, Leech and all of them. But we kind of get to see what's going on, and you know, it's kind of, in a sense, kind of goes back. We see at one point in the story, the gang is fighting Bing Bang Boom, which is really cool. I was like, okay, you know, and we see Reed, you know, using a special weapon on him. We find out a lot of interesting details about Fin Fang Foom's DNA because of Reed, and I was very much like, okay, that's logical. Makes sense that his DNA is not really as what you would think it to be. They said when they captured him, they said they'll probably give it to Sword because he's alien. You know, Sword deals with the alien stuff, is the SHIELD version for aliens, which is fine. We also get to see what's going on with the gang. You know, Reed and Sue are trying to, you know, have some alone time with each other. Ben's trying to reconnect with Alicia Masters. Always good to see Alicia. Always good to see her. Very much. It is always good to see one of those founding supporting members of the FF. And it was good to see Alicia Masters there. Johnny's dealing with his manager about some things. But other than that, besides that, much of the action is really just based around the Fin Fang Boom stuff. Other than that, it's just trying to tell the story of, because this story is called The Fall of the Fantastic Four. So it's kind of like we're getting an indication, a notion of, okay, when is this fall coming and how is it going to play out, things like that. But very much, I did enjoy the writing from James Robinson. I'm looking forward to seeing more of Mr. Robinson take over the First Family of comics, in a sense. And nothing more I can say. Like I said, wasn't perfect. It was good, but it wasn't like over the top. Oh my God, I'm drooling over this. No, it had some flaws, you know, but I don't feel that you need to read the past. But you know, this still is a good jumping on point if you're trying to get back into Fantastic Four. But I enjoyed it very much. All right, we move on to Guardians of the Galaxy number 12. This is the 4th part of the Trial of Jean Grey. Bendis, Sarah Puccelli, they all just do a fantastic job with the artwork in here. Imant. So it's basically, in a sense, young Psyche is reconnected with his father, Corsair. Now wait a minute. Last I remember, Vulcan obliterated Corsair. Marvel, why are you retconning shit? That's Marvel sometime for you, right? But yeah, we see young Psych meet up with his dad and the rest of the Starjammers. Once again, I look at that. Marvel. Last I remember, Hexaba was still on Earth with the X-Men. Retconning shit. Why? Oh well. Anyway, he's reconnecting with his dad, and his dad's telling him this and everything like that, and your brother, the older version of your brother you spent some time with me out in space, things like that, and Psych wants to know what happened to his mother, and that kind of where that goes, and of course he wants to be the dad, he wants to go talk to him, and one of the Starjammers says, let the boy go, let him be by himself. What is really interesting is, Psych goes away, and who you would figure would be one of like Hank or Bobby or Warren to go talk to him, or even Kitty. It's actually Laura, X-23. She goes to talk to him, and he's crying, and he's like, "What do you want, Laura? I'm all right." And she's like, "No, you're not." And I love the line where she says, basically, "Well, I don't do this much," and she hugs him, and I'm like, "There you go, that's cool." I even love the line where Star-Lord and Rocket see Corsair and Cyclops hugging, and Rocket's like, "What are they doing?" And Star-Lord's like, and sometimes some fathers and sons do hug each other. Not in the case of ours, but yeah. I thought it was funny. We're also seeing what's going on with the Imperial Guard, and they're really kind of coming hard on Gladiator. Really are. It's Oracle and all of them are just like, you kidnapped, not just any Earther. You kidnapped an X-Men. You waged war on the X-Men. Do you really think that they weren't going to come after us to, get her back? They're actually like they're really talking to Gladiator, who is the king now, but they're kind of putting their foot down. It's like, did you really think if somebody from Earth had kidnapped us, wouldn't you come after? You would come after us, wouldn't it? So it kind of was like, wow, it was really impressed. I was really impressed to see that. The Star-Lord's father is just like, are you going to get involved, because of that whole, no alien touches Earth and everything like that. And, it's just a lot of information coming at you, but it's good information. It's just like, what is going to happen? And poor Jean, she has to go through all this, and, because in a sense, yes, Jean did do the things that she did as the Phoenix. However, not this Jean, and it's kind of in a sense, will that hold up in the eyes of the Shi'ar? But in a sense, right now, they're not giving a shit about that. They're just like, you're Jean Grey, you need to hold account for what you did. There you go. And if nobody likes it, they can all suck it. But this is young Jean, who hasn't even come into possession of the Phoenix Force. But yeah, do I feel that the Shi'ar are being dicks about it? A part of me, yes, they are, because time travel can be a bitch. But yes, it's not that Jean. This is not the Jean that they remember. But all they see is red hair, telepath, telekinetic, X-Men. Yeah, that's Jean Grey. But this was good. I enjoyed it very much. Alright, we move on to Mighty Avengers number 7. J.R. Union and Shiktia. I hope I'm probably butchering the name. Does the artwork. Artwork is okay. I've seen better. Could have drawn. Luke looks too young, but and he looks too street. When I mean street, you gotta have Luke Cage where he's got tore up jeans and his pants are like tucked into his boots and things like that. I mean, come on, you got stop making Luke look like a hood. He's not a hood. Stop having him look like that. You gotta fix that, Marvel. But this issue is pretty much all about Anya, White Tiger. When she finds out that the man who murdered her parents went free, she has a field day. She is like, she's out for blood. And the fact is, she allows the tiger spirit she invokes to use the power of the tiger god, that amulet that's around her neck. The bargain that she made when she became the new White Tiger is he's allowed to go free one night to be the tiger, however with like a little bit of humanity in him. But when she finds out, she's like, Avatar, okay, what do you want me to do with this man? And she's like, I want to find him. And he's like, no, but we made a deal. You allow me to go free, but not with none of the humanity. I want to let me be the tiger. And it's like, oh shit. You're like, uh-oh. So now it's up to the rest of the mighty Avengers to find this guy, kind of protect this guy that really killed Anya's parents. It kind of gives a little backstory. They talk about it. SpiderMan was there. They talk about Peter Parker. Luke is telling the story about what happened, and they even give a reference. I love the old school Marvel reference. If you want to know what happens, go back and read Spectacular Spider-Man number 58, I believe it was. And I'm like, that's the old school Marvel that I love. There you go. Especially if somebody wants to go back and read that. And it's pretty much with the tiger now involved and pretty much just taken over, she is able to handle Iron Fist, Victor Alvarez, Power Man, Luke Cage, She-Hulk, the Falcon. She's handling all these guys, except finally when she comes into contact with Monica Rambeau, aka Spectrum now that she calls herself, it's a whole new ball game. I love the fact that how Monica now can able to cloak herself in a different look. She used her light form powers to cloak herself to look like the man who killed Anya's parents. And it was a good setup trick. I enjoyed that very much. And it's to the point where Anya's like, Monica's like, okay, since Anya's not in there right now, she's not home, and it's just you, Tiger God, then I don't have to hold back on you. And she don't. And it gets really intense from there. But this is a good story, very much. I enjoyed this very much. Once again, if you want something different from the Avengers that, you can jump on board, and, this is a good title to jump on, especially if you love these characters. If you want to look at it from a different Avengers perspective, here you go. It's not too late to jump on. It's only 7 issues in. Yeah. But if you're not a fan of Land's artwork, then I don't really suggest you jump on it. It took me a lot to jump on board to get into this title when I first started it because of Land's artwork. And you know me with Greg Land's artwork. I don't like it. I hate the tracer. Everybody fucking smiles, and I just don't like it. But that was good. That was good. All right, so we move on to Superior Spider-Man number 28. Stan Slott, I'm butchering. I'm sorry. I don't mean to butcher these names. But this is part 2 of Goblin Nation, Superior Spider-Man. Like I said, guys, I was never too crazy about the title. I only stood on board because of why I need a Spider-Man title in my pull, and I need my Spider-Man fix. Fix, yeah. No, I'm just messing with you. But but this is the coming of end of before Peter comes back. But I'm not gonna lie, didn't hate this title. This was wow. This was wow. That's all I can say. Wow. Ock and Norman, knowing who all along Ock was Spider-Man, just as like, know your enemy. Fuck yeah, he knows your enemy. He knows you, and I love that, chess, because that's exactly what this is. It's almost like a game of chess. However, I have to applaud Dan Slott. You made Mary Jane look so good in this. My God, thank you very much, Mr. Slott. That's what I'm talking about. Stop making Mary Jane look like just a ditzy, don't know what's going on shit. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of seeing Mary Jane looked at like she don't know what's going on, how to play the game, nothing like that. No, she knew exactly, and man, does she play for keeps. And when I mean that, she's almost like she's the wild card in this chess piece game, and in this game. So she knows, in a sense, how Norman's thinking. We got J. Jonah Jameson, who's the mayor, basically dishing out his own brand of justice, where he has brought out certain things to add to this game. Not going to spoil what that is. We also find out what happened to Carly Cooper, and not going to spoil what happened to her. You just got to read it for yourself. But there's a lot of factors into this, and it's like this game is just getting started, and it just makes you wonder what's going to happen. Poor Peter is inside the mind, and he's just trying to remember, I'm Peter Parker, things like that. I am not Otto Octavius, and but this, I have to admit it, this was good. But still, am I enjoying the fall of Ock in a sense? You're damn right I am. You're damn right. I'm more enjoying it because of him, not because of what Norman is doing in terms of his loved ones, of Peter's loved one. But for him, I'm happy. Yes, I am. I'm damn happy about it. Because what did I say from the get-go when I first reviewed that first issue? It's gonna rise and he's gonna fall hard, and in my opinion, that's exactly what's going down. And if you don't like it, you don't like it, but I said it myself. All right, Wolverine and the X-Men number 42, the final issue before the next semester, which they go back to number 1, takes over. Classic cover here. We know this cover, don't we? It's a classic cliche cover. We've seen it a lot with different titles, but you can't beat the classics. But I love it this time. It's instead of saying dead or missing, it's the students saying graduated. Jason Aaron's and friends, because there are a lot of different artists that come on this time. Jason Aaron's, Mr. Aaron's. I salute you, sir. Good. You've always did such a fantastic job. You made the X-Men not always gloom and doom, but you made it fun, right? Yeah. And in this issue, we get to see the kids graduate. Some of them graduate. Some of them become full-fledged, active X-Men. One of them being Pixie. She becomes full. She gets her diploma and she's like, finally, and I'm like, all right, that was cool. Armor and a few others, even Kid Omega, Quentin Quire gets and he's just like, because Quentin now has become like he's school president. He's become the most popular kid in the school, and it's just like, He's like, I wasn't supposed to be this, damn it. I was supposed to be a bad guy. And we get to see also way into a possible future where we get to see some of the grown-ups, the grown-up kids, like Heidi, all grown up. And first of all, I never want to see Wolverine looking this old again. And I'm talking not old to the point where he still looks like he's a badass, like when he was an Old Man Logan. I'm talking the point where he looks frail and holding a cane, and it's to the point where it's almost like if you push this guy over, he ain't getting back up. And that's hard for me to say for Wolverine. But yeah, we get to see a lot of them graduate, and I loved how we saw Phantom Max and oh God, how am I forgetting the leader of Sword there? Fuck, I kept Abigail Brand. There we go. She's there, and you got Phantom Max actually trying to hit on her, and she's like, you know, you want to, sure, and like almost like I'll transfer you to Mars if you want me to. I was like, oh shit. Cap is there. He makes a guest appearance where he gives this speech to Quentin about, you know, at first when he heard about, you know, the Jean Grey school, he's like, you know, this is just going to be a big mess. And he's basically, in this, Cap is basically saying, Logan proved me wrong, and he's happy about it. And I thought, you know, I'm like, that's Cap. You know, Cap, you know, if he's wrong, he's wrong. He has no shame in that, and he's glad about that. And it goes back and forth between the present and the possible future, and we see, once again, that Quentin, who has the Phoenix Force in the future, he pays a visit to Logan, and because it would seem that the school he's shutting down the school because, you know, just because, you know, it's had a good run, doesn't need to be up anymore. And unfortunately, Quentin, who at the time wanted to shut the thing down since the get-go, this is older Quentin, possible future Quentin, and you know, you kind of see him like, okay, he's not such a douche in the future anymore, in that possible future. But we get to see a couple of people. Hope, she makes a guest appearance, which is kind of interesting because of what happened in X-Force. But once again, it was fun. You know, it was good to see, and I love the line that Storm does for she does to Wolverine. I mean, Wolverine, after the ceremony over, he's like, it's almost like Wolverine's trying to sneak out, like, okay. And Storm is like, and where do you think you're going? And he's like, well, I was just going to check S.H.I.E.L.D. or, you know, see if something's going on with the Avengers and things like that. And, you know, Storm's like, oh, no, you don't. You're not going anywhere. You know, you belong here. Almost like she's literally planting it in Wolverine's head. S.H.I.E.L.D., S.H.I.E.L.D., the Avengers, and she even says Guardians of the Galaxy, they can deal with that stuff now, right now. You're needed here. And, you know, she even says, like, you need to stop being afraid to not unsheath those claws sometime. Weapon X is dead. But long live Professor Logan. And I'm like, only Storm could say that and make that sound so cool and so real. And for the point that Wolverine actually later on admits, I went a full day without shink. Not bad. And that's how it ends. It was cool. So this next semester starts next week, actually. Or I should say this week, because I am, depending when I'm filming this and when it goes up. Whatever. March 5th. But we got a new writer coming along. Now, I know Latour. I've read when he took over Winter Soldier. His writing's not bad, but I've been on Wolverine and the X-Men for too long, not just to, I'm not going to read it no more. So I'm going to see where he goes with it, and see how everything goes. But for Mr. Aaron's run, You get a good. If you want me to do anything else, fist bump, peace, bow, whatever you want me to say, you get it. Just continue to do your good work with X-Men, because that's all you. That's what you do, right? But yeah, Wolverine X-Men number 42, good stuff. Well, that's it, guys. A lot of stuff, not a lot of stuff that I picked up this week, because a lot of them got sold out. Certain things, but other than that, it was fun as always. Good to read. I got my book Saturday, and I pretty much read them earlier this afternoon or so. Like I said, whenever this video goes up. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. Don't forget, guys, I still have a couple of books. I still have those graphic novels that I'm going to review on this channel. Like I said, Cyborg 009 and Akuma Origin. There were some other books that I think I wanted to I forgot to review. I'll probably review them later on. For example, I wanted to give my thoughts on the title by Ed Brubaker called it's a spy novel. I'm forgetting the name right now. But Brubaker and Stephen Eppen, they do it together because next week the next issue comes out, so I wanted to talk about that. But as always, thank you for watching. Shout out to who. Do I have to even say this, guys? To everybody, Blue Goblin, FatStakeofComics, everybody at Dark Avenger Inc., at all the people at Frontline, Comic Book Uno, Mike Spider Slayer, you name it, anybody of the nation, the comic book YouTube nation. Thank you very much for watching. You guys know where you can catch me at, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. Take care.